on, people! I'm still recovering from how Infinity War ended, and now I find out the third season of the Nick Turtle series ended like that? Previously on the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles Retrospective. So yeah, the Shredder betrayed, well, everyone to get his revenge on Splinter, and then just let the Earth be destroyed in a black hole, killing off 7 billion people! You know, for kids! The only ones who survived were the Turtles, April, and Casey, who get rescued by the Fugitoid, who was apparently sent by Bishop as a failsafe plan. So how does he do that? The first episode of Season 4 begins with the Fugitoid sending the Turtles back in time to 6 months before the Earth was destroyed. My money was on Renette sending them back. The plan is to prevent the Triceratons from ever finding the previously disassembled black hole generator so they can't use it. And apparently this is their only chance to do so because the black hole prevents them from using time travel a second time. It's a bunch of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. Hey, the Fugitoid in this series is voiced by David Tennant. How could I not make that joke? So yeah, the first half of this season is Ninja Turtles in space! Which still makes more sense than when they had Josie and the Pussycats do it. And I have to give the animators props for the turtle spacesuits, which I'm sure is something else they took from the Archie comics. But then they also did this. They put the jumpsuit on teenage April. Must resist urge to make Dan Schneider joke. Whatever, the story does kind of have a Star Trek Hitchhiker's Guide feel to it, as they have to search the galaxy for the pieces that were apparently scattered by the Utroms. They start off by visiting
the big planet Varanon.
Your computer's data says the planet is home to space pirates, rogues, thieves, and smugglers.
Yeah, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Seriously, this is Mos Eisley they've landed on. Am I the only one who sees it? And that's where they ultimately meet.
I am Lord Brinigath Dreg, ruler of planet Sextoid, lord of all insect life in the universe.
Yeah, he doesn't come off quite as menacing when he's not voiced by Tony J. Anyway, they kind of get on Dreg's bad side by ruining his spice.
You primitive buffoons!
Hey, they're the Turtles, it's just what they do. In the second episode, they run into not only the Triceratons, but a race of lizard space warriors called the Salamandrians, who happen to include...
Raphael.
Mona?
Yes, Mona Lisa is in this show. And she's voiced by Robin Williams' daughter. Okay, this show just scored an extra 200 points. By the way, her commander is voiced by Goliath himself, Keith David. And one thing I forgot to mention last time is the Triceraton commander, Mozart, is voiced by Michael Dorn. So that's why the animation comes off as cheap for 3D at times. They spent all the money on voice acting. I can accept it. They also bring in characters like Belly Bomb and the mutant killer shark Armagon. Okay, this is how you win me over with this series. I am just blown away that these show creators actually read the Archie comics. By the way, you've no doubt seen the pattern by now that each season had the Turtles hooked onto some parody of an old real-life TV show. In the first season, it was Star Trek, the second was Voltron, and the third was Thundar the Barbarian. So this year we get Chuck Norris Karate Commandos?
I can't believe Chris Bradford had his own show back in the 80s. It's so lame, it's awesome!
And yes, there is some irony here, since the Chuck Norris XP that stars in this was the former ally of the Shredder that ultimately got turned into Razor. If you're wondering where the other TMNT2 mutant is, don't worry.
Finally, a little excitement. It's been like a whole week since something awesome happened.
Yeah, you might have noticed I haven't talked a lot about Casey in this series. That's because he's almost completely useless. More useless than Joxer, because Joxer was at least funny. This Casey is nothing but a vain attempt at comic relief that does near nothing but spew how he always wants some action. And no, not that kind of action. He really seemed to get over the fact that he just saw his home planet destroyed, didn't he? Anyway, they find the first fragment of the black hole generator on a planet ruled by a bunch of ethereal beings called Aeons who were turned into demons by the fragment's power because technological power corrupts them. Was this episode written by the Amish? They can't stop the Triceratons from getting the fragment, but they do save the Aeons, who in turn give April a fragment of their soul crystal that will supposedly aid her own powers. Yeah, I wonder if that's gonna lead to anything. After that, there was this episode where they have to go inside Mikey's head, and they end up in the Black Lodge? Who in the hell among Nick's current viewer base was even alive when Twin Peaks aired? And Film Brain thought the Chipmunks movies had references that made no sense. They sneak onto the Triceraton ship, but ultimately get captured and get thrown into the Hunger Games. So the Triceratons have the same ship as that of the American Red Dwarf pilot. They eventually escape with the fragment and now begin the search for the other two. Why would they not go ahead and destroy the piece they have now? Yeah, we'll get there. They head to Dimension X to speak with the Utrom Council for the location of the other two fragments. And it's here we get more info on the Utrom history. It turns out the Krang were actually spun off from the Utrom, created by one that was actually named Krang that discovered the mutagen and used it to enslave the minds of many other Utroms, I think. Oh, and did I mention the Utrom Queen is voiced by Elvira? The Turtles, along with Mona Lisa and the Salamandrians, help the Utroms thwart an attack by the Krang, and in return, the Utroms provide the locations of the other two fragments. So after they get the second piece from the Hydralas of the Cosmic Ocean, whose queen is voiced by Lucy Lawless, the Triceratons ambush them shortly thereafter and ultimately take back the two pieces the Turtles had. So now their only hope is to find the third fragment in time. This leads them to the other side of the universe, where the fragment is on the fire planet of Magdamar and is guarded by Toka, who in this show is like Gamera if he was made for a Zelda game. They nearly get the third piece, but Dreg intercepts it. Yeah, did I forget to mention Dreg had also been hunting for the fragments? And he essentially blackmails the Triceratons into buying it from him. The Triceratons respond by expelling him out into space to die. You know, for kids! So now everyone knows they have no choice but to return to Earth in time to stop the Triceratons, which leads to the episode Earth's Last Stand. As they return to Earth, the Fugitoid reveals something that he'd been hiding. That he was the one who built the black hole generator and sold it to the Krang years ago. Some in the group, particularly Leonardo, don't take that very well.
You lied to us. Everything was a lie.
Oh, hold up, Leo. The professor saved our lives over and over.
He gave us another chance. His heart's in the right place.
He doesn't have a heart. He's a robot.
And the Fugitoid apparently made the generator from the fires of Mount Doom, as it can only be destroyed by some combination of dark matter and fusion. Geez, where's Nibbler when you need him? So as the Turtles beam down to aid their past counterparts, destroying the generator's timer and stopping Shredder from skewering Splinter, the Fugitoid steals the generator himself. But of course, it's all because only he can destroy it by, well...
Hello, boys! I'm back!
So the Fugitoid sacrifices himself to destroy the generator, taking out the Triceratons in the process. And then the Fugitoid shows up! Yeah, it's the Fugitoid of the past showing up to take the past Turtles on the quest to find the black hole generator in the first place, thus allowing the timeline to fall into perfect order. Not quite Bender's big score, but it will do. So yeah, my apologies for not doing a summary on Season 3 at the end of the last video, but that ending just threw me for a loop. But I gotta admit, this was an all-out effort by the writers and creators to really make one of the deepest storylines in cartoon history that I've ever seen. Some plot elements kind of border on the ridiculous in my view, but at least they did map out the entire storyline point by point and had a clear objective as to exactly how it was going to end right from the beginning. The storyline gets really dark at times, but for a Nickelodeon show, I guess it's pretty impressive that they would put in that much effort. This was still only the first half of Season 4, but it does, in essence, work as its own independent season. Which is why the second half of the season is pretty much going to require its own individual review video. Still, it feels like I forgot to talk about something from this season.